All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. Today, we're mapping out exactly how you level up from a total beginner just staring at spreadsheets to a visionary who's literally driving company-wide strategy. If you're wondering what your next promotion actually requires, well, you are in the right place.
We're skipping all the corporate jargon for this one. We're going to look at the concrete skills you need and the exact problems you'll be solving across 5 distinct stages of a decade-long data career.
So let's kick things off with Level 1, the foundation stage. This covers your first 0 to 2 years.
As a junior data analyst, your main job is to answer one really difficult question. What happened? Think about your environment here. You're looking at spreadsheets, basic charts, lines of code. You're honestly going to spend a huge chunk of your time just cleaning messy data and building initial reporting dashboards so the rest of the company can actually see what's going on.
To succeed here and build a rock-solid foundation, you absolutely must nail SQL. You need it for pulling data out of databases. You also need to be a total wizard in Excel or Google Sheets and master basic data visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI. Throw in a solid understanding of basic statistics, and honestly, you are golden.
Now, your typical tasks at this stage aren't going to be these huge, vague strategy questions. They'll be highly specific requests from the team. Things like, hey, pull last quarter's sales by region, or why did our website bounce rates spike last week? These tasks are great because they give you the necessary reps on pulling, cleaning, and interpreting real-world numbers, but without the pressure of setting the whole company's direction.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the big shift you have to make to get promoted out of that junior role. You have to move from just reporting the facts on the left, the what happened, to uncovering the context behind them on the right, the why did it happen. Because let's face it, you cannot be a dashboard factory forever.
Which brings us to Level 2, the context stage. This spans years 2 to 4.
Here, you step into the business intelligence analyst role. Notice how the vibe changes? You're up, you're pointing to insights, and you're starting to present complex findings, things like A/B tests and cohort analyses, to the rest of the company. You've officially become the go-to person who connects raw data to actionable business decisions.
But to do that, you'll need to upgrade your technical toolkit. You'll likely add Python or R to handle more complex analysis. You need to learn how to properly design and run those A/B tests and cohort analyses. But most importantly, you need to develop data storytelling. You have to understand the business domain well enough to explain why the numbers actually matter to people who aren't data experts.
The crucial point here is that your tasks evolve. You're no longer just pulling a number. You are diagnosing a business problem. A classic project at this stage sounds like, our churn increased 12%. Which customer segments drove it, and what should we test to fix it? You are now recommending actions, not just delivering spreadsheets.
Moving right along to Level 3, the strategy stage. This is typically years 4 to 7.
Now you evolve into a senior data analyst or an analytics lead. You're shifting from answering questions to deciding which questions actually matter in the first place. Look at the dynamic now. You're at the whiteboard, you're owning entire analytics domains, mentoring junior analysts, and collaborating side by side with product leaders to map out exactly how to measure success.
To operate at this senior level, your skill set needs to expand heavily into advanced areas. You need to understand deep causal inference, literally proving that X actually caused Y. You need advanced data modeling. But equally important, project scoping and stakeholder management. You have to know how to take a really vague business goal and turn it into a structured, executable data project.
The training wheels are fully off now. You'll be tackling high-stakes tasks, like designing the entire metrics framework from scratch for a major new product launch. Or you might be tasked with building predictive models for customer lifetime value, models that will literally dictate how much the marketing team is allowed to spend on ads. That is real impact.
Next up is Level 4, the leadership stage, covering years 6 to 10.
As you cross that 6-year mark, many step into an analytics manager or data science manager role. Here, the primary goal is to multiply your impact through people. You are now at the head of the table. You're setting the overarching analytics roadmap and translating those high-level C-suite goals into a clear sequence of projects for your team to execute.
Interestingly enough, your personal coding takes a bit of a backseat here. Instead, you have to master a completely new set of skills: hiring top talent, ruthless prioritization of the project backlog, cross-functional influence to get engineering and product on your side, and of course, deep business strategy.
You'll be taking massive executive directives and figuring out the how. The CEO might say, we need to cut customer acquisition cost by 20% this year.
As the manager, it's your job to figure out exactly how the analytics team is going to unearth the insights, identify the inefficiencies, and build the tracking to make that business goal a reality.
Finally, we reach level 5, the vision stage. This is for those with 10+ years of experience.
This is the executive tier. Think head of analytics or chief data officer. You aren't just supporting the business anymore. Your goal is to transform data into a massive competitive advantage and define the data culture from the top down.
Your day-to-day relies almost entirely on executive communication. You own the multi-million-dollar software budget, you're making massive, irreversible infrastructure decisions, and you are responsible for the entire organizational design of the data department. It's a whole new ballgame. You are now answering the million-dollar structural questions. Things like, should we spend 2 years building our own customer data platform, or do we just buy an off-the-shelf solution? Or how do we implement a training program to ensure every single product manager in this company is actually making data-driven decisions? You are building the machine itself.
Now, a quick caveat before we wrap up. What if you don't want to manage people? Well, keep in mind around year 3 or 4, during that strategy stage, you can absolutely pivot. Instead of moving to manager, you can specialize. You could become a data scientist focusing heavily on machine learning, an analytics engineer focusing on pipelines and tools like dbt. You can embed deeply as a product analyst for extreme experimentation, or become a data product manager owning the data tools themselves. The path is super flexible once your foundation is solid.
So, looking at this entire 10-year roadmap, what is the exact gap you need to close to make your next big jump? Take a second to figure that out, and boom, you have your curriculum for the next 6 months. Will you climb all the way to the executive tier or pivot into a highly specialized powerhouse? The data is literally in your hands. What's your next move going to be?